Yeah, so Man City is continuing the pattern of having very fast starts, uh, and then having dips of performance, especially close to the end of the first half and in the second half, in which they have to hold on. But the difference now is that when they're having these dips in performance is less dramatic, and they're not giving up goals and blowing leads. And also in the second half, they're able to come back again and re-energize themselves at the end of the game. Whereas before, they would just hold on and they would be totally lethargic in the second half. And I think the reason for that is two reasons. Number one, Rodri is fit now. No, he's not fit. He's 75% fit, which means that there's a delay in which before the team totally runs out of energy. And actually, even when they run out of energy, Rodri finds a second boost, because we saw it. He started off the game really fast, did well. Then around 60 minutes, he started to get a little bit tired and everything. But when the game got close to 80 minutes, where they had to hold on and Newcastle was pushing, Rodri actually now energized and put Man City in attack mode again until the very end, where their goalkeeper and he held on until the very end, like in stoppage time, where Newcastle finally broke down Man City, but it was too late because the game was over. But if this had been, I felt like, don't you agree, if this had been 6 weeks ago, Man City that game would have been a draw. Man City would have lost it because they would have totally collapsed in the second half. But because what's his name is more fit, Rodri's more fit, they're able to hold on. The second thing is now that Rodri is fit, what did they use today? They used a 4-1-3-2.
4-1-3-2.
Yeah, just putting Rodri by himself as the anchor. You couldn't have done that 5 weeks ago, and that allowed them to now move this guy into his more natural position, O'Reilly, who's actually meant to be a midfielder. And O'Reilly creates that energy, sort of like what a De Bruyne would do. Even though O'Reilly can't pass the ball, he's a very forward-moving midfielder, and that adds aggression and everything, attack, to help out with. They have Semenyo on the right, then you have Haaland, so it puts less work on Haaland because O'Reilly is doing so much attacking work, and it allows Rodri to sit back. And I don't know who they had on the left playing the position that O'Reilly usually plays, but the defense did a good enough job because Rodri was shielding, was stopping balls from going back to the defense. So Rodri, to me, is the man, because he's able to, for 75% of the game now, to anchor the team and allow them to go far forward. Then he'll have a slight dip now, but they're able to hold on and then rally at the end of the game and then hold on again. What do you think, Afolabi?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And one thing about this City team is that the goals can come from anywhere. You see that their talisman is experiencing a dip in form, yet they are scoring goals. I mean, O'Reilly scored twice from midfield position. And like Mustafa rightly mentioned, the return of Rodri to full fitness has given Man City a lot of control in the midfield. Sitting as a single pivot in front of the defense, what he was able to do in the second half was, even when there was a drop in Man City's intensity, he was able to recycle the ball. And he brought his skill set to the fore. He was able to ensure that Man City kept on rotating the ball and keeping the possession from the opponent. And so when you keep the possession from the opponent, the chances of conceding are significantly lowered. When they were up and their intensity was much in the first half, they made it to count by scoring 2 goals. So I think this is how they're going to be playing the games as Rodri's fitness builds up. And if you could see that they could even give Phil Foden some 15 minutes at the end of the game to come up, and he had a very good chance to score. But for the Newcastle keeper, he could have gotten in on the act as well. So I think when it comes to managing games towards the end of the match, Man City has the tools now, unlike 2-3 weeks back, that they threw away 2-goal advantage to Tottenham. I think because of the returning Rodri, that can't happen anymore. As he builds up his fitness, I think they'll begin to control games better right now.
And let's look at the difference. Arsenal was leading 2-0, and they collapsed because Arteta told them to go into protect mode and play defensively. Guardiola never does that. Now, we've noticed that during games, City has had less intensity. It doesn't mean they're not trying to press. It means they don't have the energy to press, but they never sit back. And what he did to solve that problem today was that later in the game, around 80 minutes, rather than play defense, what they did was play possession. There's a difference between playing possession and sitting back in a low block. And this is the style of football that Guardiola plays. It's always supposed to be possession-based, but it only works when Rodri is fully fit. Second thing that Guardiola does that Arteta doesn't do, which is going to stave off getting tired when you have to do Champions League and leagues, is that Guardiola's rotation is crazy.
It's
Every
crazy.
time I look at the team play, it looks like it doesn't
You
even.
never
It's
know
not
who's
even.
going to play. You never know
The man you're playing today, this is fucking crazy. Next thing you know, he's now putting O'Reilly in midfield, so he has a better rotation and he's more flexible. Whereas Arteta will have guys like Eze and use him every 10 days. No, you have to have a constant rotation from game to game to game in this modern football. I'll end with that. What are your last thoughts, Afolabi?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Guardiola is a tinker man extraordinaire. You could see what he did today. I mean, it looked like when I saw the team list, it looked like a 4-4-2 diamond. All of a sudden, I saw three midfielders in front of Rodri. How was this going to work? Then I saw two attackers, Mamouche and Haaland. And it worked a T. They understood their positions. They knew which positions to take up. They knew how they had to run and do whatever it was. So one thing he does is he keeps the opposition guessing because you never know who's going to play or how they're going to play. But that element of surprise is not in Arteta's team. You can almost predict who was going to play.
And the first half of the game when this guy scored 2 goals, City did not really have that much control in the midfield, but the ball was never in the midfield because it was either in attack or being pushed back again by Rodri.
Yeah, sure.
In other words, they were using pressure, seriously high press. They were basically pinning Newcastle to the other end. But then after a while, they got tired. They gave up a goal. But then again, this guy burst again and scored again, O'Reilly, and then they held on for dear life. All right. Any last thoughts? Your last thoughts about
that guy is English. I heard he's English. He will make the World Cup team or the way he's playing.
Yeah, no, he got to be on their team. He has to be on their team. And the boy is only 19 or something like that, right?
Very young, 19.
All right, so check us out at 5. It's been a wonderful Saturday.
Yeah, it's been another wonderful Premier League show. We've been discussing how Man United took full advantage of Arsenal's bottle job by closing the gap to just 2 points. We await the response of the Gunners tomorrow. From Mustafa and myself, we'll be back again.
What do you